I used a first generation iPad Pro for over 7 years. I probably would have kept it for longer if it hadn't stuck for just 32 GB. I wanted a budget tablet for light use and occasional drawing. Over the years, entry level Android tablets, especially Samsung's, have gotten a lot better for artists on budget, but entry level iPads still hold their resale value much better. Here's a detailed comparison of two best budget picks right now: the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite 2024 and the iPad 11-inch A16. Firstly, the iPad is noticeably larger than S6 Lite. The S6 Lite feels more compact and easier to carry around. Hardware-wise, both tablets have their pros and cons. The iPad includes a fingerprint sensor, which is far more reliable and convenient than entering a PIN or using the front camera to unlock, a feature that barely works 80% of the time. On the other hand, Samsung wins with some of the classic but practical features. The S6 Lite has a headphone jack, which I personally prefer over the wireless earbuds. I'm a bit old school. It's simply easier to plug in wired headphones and switch between devices without the hassle of pairing. Plus, Samsung offers expandable storage, something we all know Apple will never probably do. The iPad has a higher screen resolution of 1640 by 2360 compared to the S6 Lite's 1200 by 2000 pixels. When playing videos side by side, the difference is clear. The iPad looks sharper with better contrast. Unfortunately, both tablets use reflective displays, which isn't ideal for outdoor or bright lighting conditions. Performance-wise, the iPad once again takes the lead. iPad is powered by A16 Bionic chip with 6 GB RAM as compared to Samsung's Exynos 1280 paired with 4 GB RAM. Geekbench scores backs it up, and you can see clearly who is the winner. The real world use reflects the same. I have noticed occasional lag on S6 Lite, especially after using drawing apps for a while or when closing multiple apps. It also tends to get slightly warmer near the bottom right corner during the extended use, something I have never experienced with iPad. One big advantage of S6 Lite is that it comes with S Pen included, and unlike Apple Pencil, it never needs to be charged, which is a huge win. However, I did run into issue while using the Sketchbook app on S6 Lite. There were frequent accidental touches even with a drawing glove on. This never happened on iPad, which is a bit surprising. It might be an app issue, but it's still worth noting. For the iPad A16, only the first generation Apple Pencil is supported. If you're planning to buy this iPad, I recommend getting the version of the Apple Pencil with a Lightning port. That way, you can use a simple USB-C dongle to connect it easily instead of relying on a cable. Personally, I prefer the Apple Pencil because it feels sturdier and its harder tip gives a more natural drawing experience. The S Pen, while functional, feels more delicate and has a softer tip. Of course, it's just my personal preference. I've been using the same Apple Pencil for years, so I'm naturally comfortable with it. The iPad comes with a 12 megapixel rear camera that supports 4K 60 fps, while the S6 Lite has a 8 megapixel rear camera limited to 1080p at 30 fps. But let's be honest, hardly anyone actually uses the rear camera on tablets. Maybe 5 to 10% of the users, most likely kids or casual users might. Where the iPad really pulls ahead is in the front camera. It features a 12 megapixel selfie camera compared to the S6 Lite 5 megapixel, making a noticeable difference in the video calls and online meetings. The iPad's front camera is simply sharper, cleaner, and more reliable. Lastly, I picked both the tablets during an Amazon sale, so the prices I paid might not reflect what they are now. I got the iPad 128 GB for $279, which currently retails for around $349. The S6 Lite 2024 64 GB was an absolute steal for $179. Since then, the price has gone up to about $209. That said, S6 Lite does have an expandable storage, which gives it a big advantage if you are on a tight budget and don't want to spend extra on a higher storage model. Here are the pros and cons. If your main purpose is drawing, the iPad is a clear winner. Most creative apps are better optimized and more widely available on iPadOS. However, if you are on a tighter budget and value practical effects like expandable storage and a headphone jack, then the S6 Lite is a solid choice. It really comes down to what matters to you: app experience and performance, or affordability and flexibility. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep shining.